A few weeks ago, I did a video. If the housing crash was to happen now, it wouldn't necessarily make homes affordable. And I mentioned Zillow being a corporation that was buying up a lot of homes. It just so happened the day that I released that video, then Zillow decided they were going to pause their iBuying program, and then eventually they ended up actually canceling it altogether. But that wasn't the only thing we talked about. And there's some other things you need to know if you're thinking that homes are going to be more affordable in 2022. So today we're going to be going through all those things and of course talking about Zillow. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's got some talking points and I'm going to be debunking some of them, which some of them were absolutely more tinfoil than some of the stuff I've come up with. So let's just jump right into it and talk about Zillow, because that seems to be the hot topic that all real estate agents are talking about, saying that this is the sign that all the housing market is going to crash. Here's the thing, Zillow is a humongous company, and it has been a huge company in real estate for many, many, many years, way before I was even a real estate agent. They've been collecting data for eons about real estate markets. They created something called a Zestimate, which was basically you throw a house in the middle of a circle and they guesstimated how much your house was worth. They used that Zestimate to purchase homes throughout the United States. And now it seems like they have just announced that they are going to be dumping 7,000 houses onto the real estate market. And it made it seem like, oh wow, 7,000 houses. Oh, and let me just add that it's $2.8 billion, which is nothing to laugh at or sneeze at. And that's how much they're projected to lose from it. Here's the thing. 7,000 homes is like literally a thimble full of houses that we need for the market currently. It doesn't even touch how many houses we're short for as many people that want to purchase a house. Not only that, those 7,000 houses, as much as I would love for them to be on the open market for the regular home buyer to acquire, nope. They're selling them to other investment firms. And it goes back to exactly what I said in my video 3 weeks ago, which I got a lot of guff for because the day I put out that video was the same day that Zillow had announced that they were pausing their iBuying program, and then eventually they did end up ending it. Here's the thing. I stand by everything I said. These private equity firms, whether they are Zillow, Redfin, Open Door, BlackRock, it doesn't matter. Their ultimate long-term goal is to scoop up as many affordable homes throughout the country and rent them out. I will stand by this. I don't care if you think I'm a conspiracy theory. Go ahead and throw the tinfoil hat on me. That is their long-term game. I will stand by that. And if you watch that last video, a lot of people think I was being an alarmist. And now that they've sold off all these properties, now they think that, I was completely dead wrong. But they didn't sell them off. They took a loss, which is going to be helpful to them in the future. But it doesn't matter. They gave them to other private equity firms. If the housing market was crashing, do you think these other private equity firms would just scoop them up like nothing? No, they're going to use them. They're going to rent them out. That's exactly what they're going to do, because that's the long-term goal with all of them. I'm still standing by that. I'm convinced by it. Not only that, if there was a bunch of houses that were hitting the market right now, any real estate agent will tell you investors are really salivating to get as many houses as they can because they're trying to offset inflation. Everybody knows that to offset inflation, you buy real estate. That's what they've been doing since the beginning of real estate, is they buy real estate and to offset inflation. So that's not the big thing. Not only that, Zillow has been one of those companies that really, they were just a data collection company. In the long game of everything, the biggest thing, the biggest asset that Zillow has is the fact that they have been able to collect data from everybody for free. And then they sell it to all these other firms that are buying houses that we don't talk about too much, except for BlackRock. Yeah, we all know what they do, which is buy homes and rent them out. If you're thinking that Zillow dumped them because of what this TikToker said.
Conspiracy theory alert, if you keep track of these things as they develop in real time. In the news, Zillow claiming a big loss, that their Z-estimate caused them to pay too much for homes. So they have stopped purchasing and they're going to start selling and get rid of as much of their inventory as possible. That's the official line. The conspiracy theory, Zillow recognizes we're getting really close to a real estate crash. So they've stopped purchasing and are trying to unload as much stuff as possible before the crash. So they'll have good cash on hand after the crash to buy up houses cheap.
So you're going to dump a bunch of houses just to wait for them to fall apart to buy more houses in the future? No, Zillow made a really poor decision, and they used their crappy Zestimate in order to purchase these houses, and they didn't have it managed correctly, and they lost their shirt. Not only that, they got caught by a real estate agent Their video got viral. It went all over the place. People started pulling back the curtain and looking at their business plan, and then they had to admit defeat. They're not going anywhere. So if you think that Zillow is going to fold and crumble because of this information, absolutely not. And do not feel sorry for that company whatsoever. They've made a fortune off real estate agents. We all did. We all gave our information willingly. So everybody knows about supply and demand. I don't need to explain that to you. And currently, it seems that most buyers are trying to dip out of the housing market. They have tried to shop for a home and they have been outbid and they're burnt out and they're no longer looking. If more and more people get to that point and burn out and the supply of homes increase in 2022, it does look like that there is promise that some of the home prices will decrease a little bit. But that brings me to my next point, and that's about the supply chain issues. A lot of builders, even 2 months ago, were saying they were not very optimistic when it came to building homes and being able to find the right supplies to build a lot of houses. And so they felt like they weren't going to be able to build as many in 2022. Well, it seems like they have shifted their confidence and they think that they are going to be able to meet some of their goals. So as more houses come on the market that are brand new, that means that some of the older homes might become less expensive. So that's something to look out for. When you start seeing more and more new construction on the market and you see a lot more signs saying open houses, that would be a great time for you to start looking. If you start seeing open houses signs and they're offering closing costs and they're offering like a package for you to get into the house with, the refrigerator and the washer and the dryer and all these other things that they weren't offering a year ago, that means that they're ready to sell and they have an excess supply of homes. So that might be the best time for you to purchase a home, especially because there is signs that there is going to be increase in interest rates. And that would be the number one reason why home prices would drop in 2022. Unless there's some other major financial disaster in another sector that would cause home prices to drop, the number one cause is going to be interest rates. But if you're trying to get a home loan, that's not going to really help you out, because if the interest rates rise and the home prices drop, it's all going to balance out that you're going to pay more to the bank than you would to the seller. Everybody's trying to time the market. And if you start paying attention, just really start focusing to see how many houses are on the market in your area, and that number starts to increase, and then you're seeing a lot more homes that are newly constructed that are sitting empty and interest rates haven't risen yet, maybe that's the time for you to jump in 2022. Maybe in the second or third quarter, that's when I think supply chain issues will be completely cleared. That's just my opinion. I know some people and they say that they're confident that we're going to have these supply chains issues under control when it comes to housing. We'll see. The builders seem to be pretty confident about it. And if they're confident, I'm confident and I'm willing to share it with you. Now, I debated to even bring this up because it seems so incredibly silly to me. But then I was like, well, maybe it's not so silly. In my comment section in my last video, there was a thread where somebody was saying, wait until people start getting their real estate tax bills this year. In most areas throughout the United States, if you have homestead on your home, they cannot increase your property taxes to an exponential rate. There's a cap. There's only a certain percentage they can raise your rate. So even though your house, let's just say, was $150,000 at the beginning of 2019, and now it's worth $325,000. That doesn't mean they're going to start taxing you. Your property tax bill is going to be on $325,000 if your home is homesteaded. It's most likely going to be like whatever the percentage is for your area. It could be 1%, 2%, or 3%. So even though your property taxes will go up some, they're not going to go up to the assessed value of the $325,000 unless you do not have homestead. And if you have not filed homestead on your house, make sure that you do that like right now. And if you don't know what homestead is, it just means that they give you a tax break on a certain amount of money on the house. So here in Louisiana, I think it's like $75,000. They basically say you don't have to pay taxes on the $75,000 of value to that house. You have to pay the taxes, everything after that. And if you have a house that's $75,000, you don't have to pay any property taxes. In a lot of areas, if you have filed for homestead, it's something very similar to that. So if you haven't done it, just file homestead. File it. It saves you thousands of dollars. Do it. And only that, you wouldn't have to worry about that assessed value kicking you in the butt this year. What about the forbearance plan? I mean, we talked about it a lot at the beginning of 2021. And it was one of those things that at the beginning of the pandemic, there was 7.6 million people that were on the forbearance plan. And at that time, I was thinking, oh my God, that was alarming to me. And at that time, nobody knew if they were going to extend out the forbearance plan, which they did, obviously. They've done it all the way through 2021. And it has saved a lot of Americans and their homes. To this day, there's still people that can still sign up with many mortgage holders for a forbearance plan if they need it. But if you look at some of the headlines that have shown up, they're saying, oh my gosh, look at all the people that are on forbearance. This is a terrible sign. Headlines are just headlines, because right now there's 1.1 million people that are on forbearance. Yes, that is a high number. But at the beginning of the pandemic, it was, like I said, 7.6 million people or 7.8 million people. That number, that 1.1 million people that are on forbearance, is a lot less than it was even a month ago. A month ago, it was 1.6 million. And the month before that, it was 1.8 million. And the month before that, it was like 2.4 million. It keeps going down every single month, which is good because those people got to save their home. But if you're looking for an affordable housing option, you were really kind of in the hopes that there was going to be a housing crash and you could find a more affordable home. Unfortunately, for the people that were waiting for that, I don't think there's going to be enough people that are on the forbearance plan that are not going to be able to pay it back and end up in foreclosure. And even if they weren't able to pay it back, right now, a lot of those homes have increased in value exponentially, and they would be able to sell their house pretty easily. I mean, even though the housing market has flattened in some areas, just a scotch, doesn't mean that they wouldn't be able to sell it. I mean, instead of selling it for 25 days, they probably sell it in 45 days. It wouldn't matter. They would be able to save themselves from foreclosure, and they would still be able to pay off all those payments that they missed that whole entire year they weren't able to pay. I know it's disappointing if you're looking for more affordable houses in 2022, but that doesn't look like it's the thing that's going to be causing a housing crash in 2022. If interest rates aren't going to be the biggest hiccup in this housing market, it may still be the pandemic, but who really knows? I want to know your opinion. What do you think is going to be that makes home prices drop in 2022? I know a lot of you will think, well, it's going to be Zillow, but I'm telling you, I'm still stand by a lot of things that I said up in that last video about Zillow, even though people are like, oh, you were wrong, Zillow closed down. They're not going anywhere. They're really not. They're going to be back. They're just going to restructure everything they did in that last time around, and they're going to restructure, and they'll be back buying houses just like they always did, and they're buying the most affordable homes because, they know they messed up. If you want to see what I said and you actually want to read some of the comments in the comment section where they trash me, go ahead and click this video right here. My name is Kristina Smallhorn, your real estate whisperer, and I tell you all this because good real estate information matters.